Picture the bright lights of the red carpet, the flashes of countless cameras, and the star who once seemed destined to captivate every lens in sight. Our story begins at the height of that glimmering fame, when Blake Lively ruled headlines. With her impeccable fashion sense and a public persona so charming that every red carpet interviewer wanted just a few extra seconds with her. Her smile radiated success. Her witty banter gave the impression of someone who truly had it all. But in a world where image is currency, it takes only a few cracks in the facade for questions to surface. And those questions grew louder until they demanded answers. In this opening segment, viewers become aware that beneath the glossy photo shoots and feel-good social media posts, something far more complicated was unfolding. A set of contradictions, rumors, and controversies that would soon spiral out of control. What was once a picture of polished perfection began to blur around the edges. Suddenly, it wasn't just gossip sites whispering about on-set tensions or suspicious power plays. Major news outlets picked up tidbits of troubling information, each rumor layering atop the last, forming a mosaic of potential scandals. Fans who had idolized her found themselves grappling with unsettling stories. Were these just baseless tales concocted by rivals, or was there a deeper truth lurking behind the curtains? That tension, the gap between the public's adoration and the rumblings of a major downfall, builds the immediate intrigue. The video draws you in by posing the ultimate question. How does someone who appeared so beloved and relatable end up in the crosshairs of a massive backlash, a web of lawsuits, and the widespread loss of trust from both the public and the Hollywood insiders she once counted as friends? With that gripping hook, the viewer is left on the edge of their seat, eager to learn about the twisting path that led an adored actress to face one of the harshest storms of career controversy the industry has seen in years. And so begins the unraveling of Blake Lively's once impenetrable reign. In the next segment, the narrator turns the lens back in time to recount how Blake Lively captured hearts and headlined magazines. She wasn't just another pretty face. She was someone who transcended her early breakthrough in a high-profile teen drama. As the Hollywood narrative went, she was the it girl of her generation, elevated as a style icon and celebrated for both her on-screen charisma and off-screen wit. Award show hosts doted on her, designers scrambled to dress her, and fans followed her every social media post. To understand the depth of the fall, you first have to grasp the height of her pedestal. Imagine stadiums filled with admirers, countless brand endorsements raving about her elegance, and a circle of A-list connections that placed her among the top-tier celebrities. At charity functions, she spoke passionately about women's rights and equality, framing herself as more than just an actress. She was the champion of a modern, progressive Hollywood. Publicly, it seemed like she could do no wrong. A happily married star with a fairy tale romance, a mother who balanced career and family seamlessly, and someone who conveyed genuine warmth in every interview. That aura of authenticity is what made the public's faith in her so absolute. People saw her as the down-to-earth celebrity who resonated with fans on a personal level, free of arrogance or scandal. Yet as the video reveals in hushed undertones, the pristine image may have been carefully curated. Rumors of restless ambition and boundary-pushing behavior remained faint background noise, mostly ignored by the mainstream. Those early murmurs didn't align with the America's Sweetheart storyline the media had embraced, so they were dismissed. But like faint cracks in a mirror, even small inconsistencies can widen over time. In this portion of the video, you're left contemplating how easily the public can be charmed and how quickly that charm can evaporate when new facts emerge. Having established the glittering pedestal on which Blake Lively stood, the narrator shifts the focus to the subtle signs that all was not well behind the scenes. Here, anecdotal whispers from set designers, makeup artists, and lesser-known co-stars emerge, each one recounting moments that seemed off, tiny episodes of tension or power struggles that left colleagues scratching their heads. At first, these stories were brushed aside as trivial Hollywood gossip. After all, many celebrities are exacting about their work, and maintaining a firm hand on your image is hardly a shock in an industry brimming with competition. But as the whispers accumulated, patterns became harder to dismiss. One source alleged that entire scenes were restructured to favor her character, sparking creative disagreements that forced last-minute rewrites. Another mentioned her stepping in to override certain production decisions, overshadowing the input of the official director. These were not the isolated incidents of a perfectionist actress merely wanting the best for her projects, critics pointed out. Instead, they suggested a deep-seated need to control every aspect of her environment. Nonetheless, none of these murmurs made major headlines initially. The fan base was steadfast in their adoration, and producers often banked on her star power to draw in audiences. The casual film-goer saw none of this tension, only the polished final product graced by her presence. But in an industry where alliances are ever shifting, it's only a matter of time before the veil starts to lift, especially when new, bolder allegations ignite the spark. In this part of the narrative, the viewer senses the quiet foreshadowing of something bigger brewing, a cautionary undercurrent that an empire built on perfect optics can collapse with just a few forceful revelations. With curiosity piqued, the video delves into the pivotal turning point that escalated these early whisperings into front-page headlines, the filing of a major lawsuit. Suddenly, rumors about creative overreach and personality clashes were overshadowed by official legal complaints accusing Blake of breaching contracts, manipulating narratives, and leveraging her public platform to undercut colleagues. The tension spikes when alleged text messages come to light, some apparently praising co-workers for their efforts, others sounding more forceful or demanding than anyone outside the set had imagined. The narrator clarifies that high-stakes litigation isn't unheard of in Hollywood, but the lawsuit against Blake felt different. Industry observers noted that it struck at her carefully constructed public persona. How could the champion of female empowerment be accused of silencing others or twisting contractual obligations to fit her agenda? The surprising part wasn't just that a star of her caliber was embroiled in legal trouble. It was the multitude of allegations claiming she consistently overstepped her role, sometimes acting like a de facto director or executive producer, even when her official title didn't grant her such authority. The swirl of contradictions caught everyone off guard. She had once embodied the notion of authenticity, but now documents hinted that her behind-the-scenes behavior clashed with that image. Fans were left feeling confused and betrayed. For years, they'd watched interviews where she championed collaboration, only to see references to controlling behavior in black-and-white legal briefs. As the lawsuit unravels, it becomes the linchpin event that forces everyone, from casual fans to industry gatekeepers, to finally question which side of Blake Lively is real: the affable star or the ambitious puppet master orchestrating every move. Kang. PR meltdown and backfired spin, at least 1,000 characters. By this stage of the video, the viewer discovers how Blake's team scrambled to staunch the bleeding. Reportedly, she enlisted a former CIA operative named Nick Shapiro to orchestrate a meticulous crisis management effort. Typically, actors turn to Hollywood-savvy publicists or well-known reputation consultants. So the mention of ex-intelligence involvement sent shockwaves through the entertainment sphere. This wasn't mere rumor control. It seemed like a mission, straight from the pages of a spy thriller, complete with strategies for digging up counter-information and minimizing damaging leaks. But no matter how sophisticated the tactics were, each move appeared to spark an even bigger explosion of controversy. News outlets reported allegations that certain statements issued to the press were misrepresenting the timelines of events, while social media skeptics dissected and compared every official comment to the trove of leaked messages floating around. Ironically, the more her team tried to steer the narrative, the more fans felt that something was being hidden. Suddenly, social channels that once idolized her were rife with open criticism. Longtime supporters demanded explanations for the contradictions, while the general public speculated about why she needed such heavy-duty crisis intervention if she truly had nothing to hide. In the midst of it, a few loyal defenders claimed she was being hounded by an industry unwilling to accommodate strong women. Yet, the mounting evidence of strong-arm tactics, including rumored hush agreements and questionable timing of certain messages, had many concluding that this PR attempt was less about innocence and more about suppression. With every press release that landed, the debate only intensified, a perfect case study in how a celebrity meltdown can escalate when crisis control is wielded like a blunt instrument. The narrator then underscores the sobering reality. Once major lawsuits and relentless negative publicity collide, the response from the Hollywood machine often comes swiftly. Producers, casting directors, and studio executives are known for keeping their distance when even the faintest scent of controversy arises. In Blake's case, the problem wasn't just the scandal itself, but the way it cast doubt on her reliability as a collaborator. Could directors trust an actress who might overrule their decisions? Could producers rely on someone rumored to micromanage sets and overshadow everyone's creative input? Suddenly, hush-hush rumors swirled about previously confirmed deals being quietly scrapped or postponed indefinitely. Upcoming projects that once boasted Blake's name at the center went radio silent, either due to creative differences or scheduling conflicts. But insiders whispered that the real reason was fear. People were wary about the potential PR nightmare that could eclipse the success of any film or show. Sponsors, too, weren't immune from the backlash. Luxury brands that had once flaunted her endorsements started pulling away, focusing on safer, scandal-free partnerships. In an industry built on reputations and alliances, her previously unassailable image was now fraught with cautionary tales. Colleagues who had once sung her praises were notably absent from interviews or award shows. That chill spread to personal networks as well. Friends who might have previously rushed to her defense stayed silent or made vague statements about waiting for all the facts. This is the turning point where viewers realize that Hollywood, once so eager to celebrate Blake's brand of charm, had all but slammed the door shut, leaving her to face a barrage of questions with few, if any, industry allies left to go to bat for her. At this moment, the video peels back the curtain on what insiders describe as Blake Lively's relentless push for control, painting a portrait that starkly contradicts her public persona of collaborative grace. Crew members step forward, some anonymously, to recount allegations of script overhauls requested without the director's approval, casting suggestions overridden, and entire marketing campaigns recalibrated to revolve around her. While actors often exert influence on set, the scope of Blake's supposed interference appeared to surpass typical star involvement. Sources recount tension-filled storyboards, late-night script changes, and staff too intimidated to voice dissent. Even more unsettling was the notion that behind each so-called creative suggestion, there lurked an implicit warning: adapt or risk being excluded from future credits. It became a constant uphill battle for department heads who'd initially joined projects believing they were part of a team effort. Imagine signing onto a production, expecting an environment of mutual respect and artistic openness, only to find your professional expertise overshadowed by a single individual's unyielding vision. This part of the narrative leads viewers to question whether her trademark smile and warmth were simply camouflage for a ruthlessly ambitious mind. For some watchers, it triggers empathy for those crew members who felt cornered. For others, it fuels anger at the apparent discrepancy between her championing of creative unity and the rumored reality of top-down management. By now, her champion of women image is deeply tarnished, replaced by tales of intimidation that even fans find difficult to ignore. The narrator doesn't offer a definitive verdict on whether every rumor is true, but the accumulation of similar stories from multiple projects forms a chilling pattern that's hard to dismiss as mere coincidence. At this juncture, the video shifts from insider accounts to the mass reaction of fans, once the unwavering base that boosted Blake Lively to superstardom. The meltdown reached its peak in the public arena, most tangibly measured by social media metrics. Massive unfollowings on platforms she once dominated, scathing hashtags, and endless threads dissecting every statement she made. People who had styled their wardrobes after her red carpet looks or admired her perceived authenticity felt blindsided. One day, she was the aspirational icon with an enviable life. The next, they saw her as a manipulator orchestrating a grand deception. The betrayal ran deep. Fans shared stories of idolizing her strength, citing her as a role model for balancing career and family, only to see glimpses of a far harsher personality behind the scenes. They demanded accountability, calling for boycotts of upcoming productions that featured her or even cameo appearances. This was no passive wave of disappointment. It was an active revolt, fueled by a pervasive sense that her public persona had been meticulously crafted to conceal a controlling, self-serving streak. In this section, the narrator highlights the fervor of internet sleuths who unearthed old interviews to find any hint of hypocrisy or double talk. Memes depicting her as the overlord of the set or the queen of behind-the-scenes drama went viral. Even those who tried to remain neutral found themselves swept into the drama by the sheer volume of evidence being circulated. Fan communities, once echo chambers of praise, turned into spaces filled with anger and disillusionment. It's a startling reminder that the line between adoration and outrage can be perilously thin, and when the tide turns, it's almost impossible for a celebrity to hold it back. 9. The quiet allies turn away, at least 1,000 characters. With fans in uproar and the industry pulling back, one more pillar remained: Hollywood's tight-knit circle of celebrities and influencers who had once been fast friends with Blake. However, this segment unveils a stark change in tone among her former allies. Those who had shared comedic banter on talk shows and given shout-outs on social media fell conspicuously silent. When asked about the scandal in interviews, most delivered responses so vague they barely registered as support, citing a desire for clarity or refusing to comment altogether. This sudden chorus of non-committal statements was deafening in its own right. A-listers who value loyalty and often stand by each other publicly seemed reluctant to stake their reputations on Blake's defense. The rumor mill churned out stories of private conversations where once close friends allegedly admitted they couldn't align themselves with someone under such intense legal and moral scrutiny. Even philanthropic events, which Blake typically frequented, saw her absent or excluded. For viewers, this is where the scope of her downfall becomes most tangible. No matter how big your star power, Hollywood thrives on maintaining an image free from messy entanglements. Allies might stay by your side during mild controversies, but when whispers become lawsuits and fan grumblings transform into boycotts, that loyalty fades fast. The narrator underscores that the city of dreams can turn ice cold in an instant, and in Blake's case, it felt like the freeze had spread to the very people she once relied on for both personal and professional support. As the segment ends, the question of whether she has anyone left in her corner looms like an echo across a rapidly emptying stage. In the final portion of the video, the viewer is guided through a reflective summation of everything that has transpired: the meteoric rise, the cracks in the surface, the lawsuits that shattered illusions, and the widespread desertion by fans and industry insiders alike. Where Blake Lively once appeared untouchable, an effortless blend of talent, elegance, and down-to-earth charm, she now finds herself contending with a barrage of scrutiny that few stars could weather. Speculation runs rampant, that this may well be an irreversible blow to her career, a harsh lesson in how the lines between ambition and manipulation can blur under Hollywood's unforgiving lights. Yet, the narrator also poses lingering questions. Is there any path to redemption in an industry that both loves and loathes a comeback story? Could a genuine apology and an honest reckoning with her alleged behavior soften the public's stance? Or is this irreversible damage, etched in viral infamy and legal wrangling, too massive to overcome? While some caution that we've seen, stars revive their images from ruin before. Others argue that the depth of betrayal fans feel can't simply be undone with a well-placed statement or teary-eyed interview. In those final moments, viewers are left to ponder the fragile nature of celebrity. How a single lawsuit can peel back layers of a persona that took years to build, and how quickly the same audience that once idolized a star can collectively decide to tear her down. Whether Blake attempts a quiet retreat or continues to fight every allegation in public view, one truth resonates. The carefully crafted facade is broken, and no matter how hard one tries to piece it back together, the scars remain. The video then closes on a subtle note of caution, reminding anyone watching that the glamorous surface of Hollywood often conceals labyrinthine struggles for power, control, and influence. And sometimes the brightest smile can hide the darkest intentions.